Hey guys, this time we are going to be breaking down the 12th episode of Attack on Titan Season 4. The plot of an internal war thickens in this episode as we witness the death of Premier Zachary, the escape of Eren, and the arrival of the Marleyans on Eldian soil. Before we can talk about that crazy cliffhanger, we are going to go to the scene-by-scene breakdown of the episode. This episode, which is titled Guides, starts off with Armin revisiting Annie in her crystallized form. Hitch, who is on watch, stops Armin from fulfilling whatever weird fantasy he had of feeling up Annie's crystal as she stops him. This hasn't been the first time we have seen Armin visit Annie this season, and in fact, he always seems to visit Annie whenever he can. Maybe he's trying to share the burden of being a Titan with someone who's in the same boat, since his only other Titan friend is busy on committing mass genocide. Armin and Annie did have a good relationship in Season 1, but his visits can also be due to him inheriting Berthold's memories. As we saw with Eren Kruger in the flashbacks during Season 3, he was inheriting some of Eren's memories before that even happened. So maybe a part of Armin goes to meet Annie, since we all know about Berthold's weird infatuation with a female Titan. After an awkward exchange of words, we see Armin and Hitch discuss about the rising protests going on within Paradis. The pro-Eren supporters are making their voices heard as the number keeps increasing outside the headquarters after Flock and more Jaegerists leak info about Eren's imprisonment. So there's not much the military can do except maybe reveal the truth. We all saw how the military decided to reveal the truth about Eldia and Marley to the people living within the walls. So maybe if they did the same thing about the Rumbling and Zeke, things wouldn't be so chaotic. We also got a glimpse of Armin and Mikasa outside the HQ as they notice a couple of new recruits head into the Premier Zachary's room with his favorite torture chair. They found this surprising since new recruits never were usually seen at this part of Paradis, and turns out their suspicions were bang on target. But unfortunately, so were the new recruits with their perfect placement of the hidden bomb. But more on that later on. We then hear a conversation between Yelena and Commander Pixis as she reveals she had met with Eren in private. This was a very risky move on her part, since all the locals, including the military, always doubted their loyalty to the Eldians. Turns out, Yelena, with the help of Eren's favorite ass-kicker, aka Flock, snuck into his house to have a private meeting with him. This was about 10 months prior to the present events, and after this meeting, Eren started acting even more crazier than usual. Not long after he went solo and conducted his first act of mass genocide on Marley, Yelena even stated that this was exactly what her and Zeke wanted. The news of her meeting with Eren now became common knowledge, as it was passed on to Hange and the rest of the troops, who began questioning the other Marleyan volunteers like Onyankopon about their involvement. Later, we got to see Armin and Mikasa do what they do best, defending Eren at all costs with disregard to any sort of atrocities he may be committing. They had an uneasy feeling that the military was planning to hand over the founding Titan to someone else, so they tried their best to talk Zachary out of it. To the surprise of those two, the storyline has taken such a turn that not even the two best friends can help him out. After finding out about Eren's secret meeting, Zachary lost whatever little trust he had in Eren. After Eren refused to speak to the military, it was clear to him that Eren was being manipulated by Zeke. As Armin and Mikasa left the office, we saw 3 military personnel enter the office. These were the candidates who were being looked at to replace Eren. But of course, the Jaegerists made it clear how they felt about that after hiding a bomb in the torture chair, which blew up Zachary and the other candidates. This move has basically confirmed the outbreak of civil unrest within Paradis and has now set up an internal revolution of sorts, with over 100 of military personnel deflecting to the aid of Eren and releasing him from the cell. Although in the anime, we did not get a look of how Eren escaped. The manga showed that he had managed to build an underground tunnel, which he escaped from, and then used his Warhammer Titan powers to harden the hole so nobody could come looking. He has truly transformed transformed into the perfect combination of bronze and brain. And beauty, of course. I mean, it seems like he used his Warhammer powers to harden his abs as well. Glad to see the world's busiest Titan doesn't skip core day. We then get one of the most iconic scenes from the manga as we see a buff Eren Jaeger put on a hoodie. This is right up there with any fight scene that the show was ever produced. Arguably the grandest spectacle of the whole show, as Eren unites with Flock and his followers on the top of some random cliff, probably to soak in the sun to make up for his time being locked underground. We get the go-ahead by Eren to go and locate Zeke's whereabouts, and something tells me this isn't because they want to chat up and play some ball to make up for all the time they lost as brothers. Is a possible rumbling on the horizon? Don't think many Eldians would be pleased to see an all-out horde of Titans being formed without their consent. This cold and calculated attack inside HQ seemed to have united the protesters right outside. Their voices were louder, chants much clearer, and cockier than ever. Flock and his group of bandits have successfully managed to bring more power within their own little faction by the disruption and confusion that has been caused. With a military meeting being called to discuss the attack in HQ, Hange has been more disoriented than ever, and the military is running around like headless chickens as they contemplate whether they should stop Eren or head over to Zeke's base or go and protect Queen Historia. There is a sense of panic and chaos with no concrete plan being put forth, with Commander Pixis being the highest ranking official for the time being. He decides to give in to Zeke and Eren's plan. To the surprise of many, he states that their best strategy would be to carry out a negotiation with Eren. Thus, he believes that Zeke should be located and got to as soon as possible. Azumabito, who's still been living in Paradis and hoarding all their supplies, only seems to care about the rumbling and Mikasa. When she's not trying to steal Paradis's resources, she's busy crying about her ancestors' past and why Mikasa belongs to Hizuru. Mikasa finally calls this old lady out for her BS as she tells her that she does not really care about the hardships that the Eldians face. Kiyomi just seems to have a weird infatuation with watching the rumbling come to life so that no matter what happens, Hizuru can continue using their resources and the Iceburst Stone in particular. The final clips of the episode show Hange and a group of soldiers ride on horseback to investigate a possible hunch. As Hange states, Yelena had appointed a bunch of troops from under her command all over Paradis. Some, such as Niccolo, were working at a restaurant which they seem to be heading at. This is where things get interesting. The show cuts to the restaurant as we see Gabi and Falco enter the same place with the other orphans that Sasha's parents took in. Since this seems to be the same location Hange seems to be heading, we can expect Gabi to go full Gabi and create a whole ruckus within the area. And finally, for that big cliffhanger of an ending, we finally get confirmation that the Marleyan troops have successfully entered Paradis, with last week's post-credit scene showing their plan to attack Paradis as soon as possible. We were wondering when they would arrive. Now, similar to that style that Eren entered Marley, we see Peak hiding under a shawl as she sees Hange and the rest of the crew ride off. With the episode coming to an end, all the pieces are slowly coming together. On one hand, we have Eren's crazy cult heading towards Zeke to probably activate the rumbling. But since we know Captain Levi is too located there, it's not going to be a simple walk in the clouds for the Jaegerists, with Hange and the military all set to reunite with everyone's least favorite character in the show. We're hoping for a quick and swift Gabi kill. But we all know Izumaya does not work like that. If we know anything about the way this show goes, prepare for the worst. And oh boy, is Gabi the worst. But what I'm most excited for is the battle of Marley versus Paradis. This time, it's the Marleyans who have the advantage, since Paradis is quite unaware of the impending attack, and now that they are in the state of civil war, they have more to fight against than just Marley. How will the military manage to fight off Eren while the colossal titan is all set to make his presence felt once again on Paradis? This is something we're eagerly looking forward to. so please comment your predictions down below. Another exciting prospect that may come to fruition is the possible release of Annie. It has been years since we have seen her in her female Titan form, and if she somehow comes out of her crystal, either by forcing to come out to avoid a pervy Armin from staring at her for too long, or whether it be through reinforcements in the form of Reiner and the others, the odds are only going to increase in favor of the Marleyans. Expect another crazy battle like we witnessed in the first few seasons, with countless casualties and deaths of all random military troops who have gotten no screen time whatsoever. And also the occasional shocking plot twist that Isamaya loves to catch us off guard with. We cannot wait to see what this anime has in store for us next week. And be sure to come back next time to see our breakdown for the new episode. Thank you for watching Anime Breakdown.